Over the past few years, as I've grown out of my anime genre shell of mostly shonen anime, I've come to truly appreciate the slice of life genre. I've also come to enjoy the drama and romantic comedy genres as well, leading me to watching quite a bit of anime, especially in 2017 to 2018, before I got started with university. I was no longer confined to anime that had to have action, as long as something was able to reel me in. Tanaka-kun is always listless. Hyoka, Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions, Toradora, Daily Lives of High School Boys, and Golden Time are all examples of anime that I've enjoyed that have the genres of slice of life, comedy, romance, and or drama. And there's something in each of these that reeled me in to watching the dramatic, romantic, comedic, or just plain chill journey that the characters go on. One such show that is a rom-com, slice of life, and dramatic anime is My Teen Romantic Comedy SNAFU, which currently has 2 seasons with an upcoming 3rd season. Adapted from the light novel series of the similar name, my youth romantic comedy is wrong as I expected, abbreviated to Oregairu from the Japanese title. While I haven't read the light novel series, I can say after finishing my rewatch of the anime that I truly love everything about this show. I wouldn't call this a perfect piece of entertainment or anything like that, but it does a lot of things truly well, and it keeps me hooked from episode 1 of season 1 to the cliffhanger in season 2. I really like this show, but I'm not exactly sure why. More specifically, I'm unsure of how this show makes me feel, and I felt this way ever since I first watched the show back in 2018. So in this short anime-related video, I wanted to ramble on a bit about the anime in an attempt of figuring out what feeling this show is conveying to me personally, and hopefully in the process, maybe I'll be able to convince someone to check it out. I won't spoil anything too serious, so there's no worries if you haven't seen this yet. So let's jump in. The main character, Hikigaya Hachiman, is who we follow through all of the events that take place in this show. His view on life is very twisted due to his past experiences where he tried to make friends and ask out others. He couldn't quite connect with the social cliques around him, and eventually began his lonely, out-of-touch perspective. After a poor response with what future dream he has, his instructor assigned him to participate in the volunteer or service club, where he meets Yukinashida Yukino. A classmate of his, Yuigahama Yui, also joins the club after Hachiman and Yukino help her out. The goal of the club is to simply hear out the requests of their peers and assist them. Also, side note, I just realized that the girl's first name is only a portion of their last name, and that all major characters seem to have the same starting letter for first and last name. There's 2 other characters that share at least the latter pattern, and I guess it took me 2 full watches of the show to come to this realization. Whoops. So the main premise is that these 3 are helping out their classmates and seeing how Hachiman contrasts with his normal peers, except for this Daru ripoff. There's also this beautiful lad who makes Hachiman question a lot of things, and yeah, I can absolutely relate. And then there's the social group in his class that is led by Hayama Hayato. And see, there's that name thing again. While the 3 main characters work to figure out how to solve people's problems, you also get to see the conflicts that the main characters have, and how their relationship grows as these conflicts somewhat get resolved. And it's not just relationship conflicts, but also conflicts with the characters themselves. It's all very simple and probably similar to something that has appeared in similar shows. So why am I so adamant with this anime? Why am I making a video about a show that has a premise that seems so relatable to other dramatic rom-coms? Well, let me try to explain. The first season doesn't really touch upon any serious issues with characters, but definitely raises some concerns. Hachiman's poor outlook on life and his thought process in solving problems, Yukino's apparent family problems, especially with her sister, and Yui's hidden desire to hold on to the friendships that she has with the other 2, despite some difficulties. Yui's issue isn't as severe, but she also struggles with decision-making. So Hachiman and Yukino lead the way in the club's actions. However, there are some great conclusions that the 3 come to throughout the first season, with a little bit of drama sprinkled in due to some past events. But oh boy, the season's final issue really gets the viewer geared up for season 2. Without spoiling anything, I'll just state that Hachiman's poor outlook on life begins to be his downfall, as he refuses to see that his current stance on things is very unhealthy. He believes he can be the expendable variable in problem problem solving since he simply doesn't care. The same issue comes up in the second season and is much more impactful. The style of the show isn't the only thing that changed from the first season to the second, as things get more serious in regards to the relationships between our main characters. Hachiman's actions have implications that affect those close to him. So while he feels like he can be the expendable one in solving an issue so that no one but himself gets hurt, others end up getting hurt. Eventually, progress comes to a halt between our main characters, both with the club fulfilling requests and the relationships deepening between the three. The stickers that appear on the sign outside of the clubroom stop updating due to the lack of requests being fulfilled, and there is painful stagnation among the three. Because of their different outlooks on life and the best way to help out their peers, they are too afraid to take requests. It's painful. But seeing the raw emotion that eventually come out of these characters, especially Hachiman, truly makes me feel something. I love our three main characters, and the first season cemented that. Seeing them battle their own problems and try to overcome them is a goddamn delight, especially while they're able to work together despite their differences in opinions. Even Ishiki Iroha, a character we meet in the second season who I saw as an annoyance at first, truly grew on me. But our main three, god damn it, man. After everything they go through to work together despite the problems that are still hinted at is what kept me watching to the very end for the second time. And speaking of our main three, after watching the show for a second time, I don't even care who Hachiman gets with if he actually does go for someone. In my first watch, I thought Yukino was hands down the best choice, despite her eyes shrinking in size in the second season, but especially after everything that occurs in these two seasons. But now I've come to the realization that Yui is so great as well, and now I can't choose. Even Iroha is pretty damn reasonable after a large chunk of the second season that she's involved in. I love our 3+1 main characters. Shit, even Hayato is interesting. But you didn't hear that from me. The second season takes our characters that were built up in the first season in order to give us valuable development in their relationships and their selves. From fixing small problems to learning about the problems the main characters face, to dealing with extremely well-animated hand gestures, to finally showing raw emotion and development. This show is a goddamn ride that I fail to describe properly, even now for a video. Sure, this show can be related to many others with the same genres, but there's truly something unique about Oregairu that makes me feel like that it will always be something that cannot be easily compared to. But one problem remains. I still don't know how to state how this show makes me feel. Every anime I watch makes me feel at least something. Attack on Titan makes me feel hyped. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai makes me feel a mixture of happy, sad, and overall confused. Welcome to the NHK makes me consider what I'm doing with my life. Bleach makes me feel nostalgic. Anohana makes me feel like a sad little bitch. Plastic Memories also makes me feel sad, but not as sad as Anohana, and it's totally expected. Yosuga no Sora gives me a confused boner. Island pisses me off. The point is, I either get a resulting emotion from a show, or just something as a result from watching it. And it's not just anime either, as books and other forms of media have always left me with something. For example, reading Stephen King's The Shining in the middle of the night made me feel like I was being watched. And boy was I a scared little bitch. So what does Oregairu leave me with after watching that very notable ending of season 2? Sure, I'm satisfied with what I just consumed, but I feel like that's too vague. I have the same issue with the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, as I enjoyed what I watched. So much so, just to rate it a 10 on my Annie list, but I can't describe what it made me feel or what it left me with. To those who have watched Oregairu, or at least read it, how did it make you feel? Maybe I'll be able to find an answer at some point after watching the upcoming third season, but an anime that leaves me wondering what mark it left on me is, in my opinion, a definite show that I can't help but recommend. Unless it's just really bad, and I don't want to think about what it left me with other than a feeling of disgust, just like Chaos Head and Tsuyu no Sora. But anyways, thanks for watching and listening to me ramble on about this. I had hoped that I would be able to sort out my feelings for Oregairu by making this, but I probably just confused myself even more. Regardless, I hope that this was insightful or entertaining in some way. As always, I want to give a big thanks to my big supporters over on Patreon, Ashton Lambert and JW Player 0, as well as Full Metal for assisting me with this. In the next episode of Michael SK Talks About Anime, we'll discuss school days.